So we have some breaking news that Buffalo, New York Mayor Byron Brown is actually blaming 75-year-old man Martin Gugino for being pushed over by officers Aaron Torgalski and Robert McCabe. We saw this a couple nights ago on the channel. We don't need to play that clip again. No one needs to see that again. But frankly, if you did see that video, you know that what officers Torgalski and McCabe did was 100% wrong and inappropriate. And they were lucky to just be suspended from their position and not lose their job outright. And what we saw was condemnation from all over New York State, from all over the USA, from all over the world at what we saw that night in Buffalo, except from the actual power brokers in that city. When these officers were merely suspended, perfectly reasonable decision. 57 officers resigned from the emergency response team. We covered that yesterday on the channel. That these 57 officers were basically showing solidarity with the people that were the perpetrators and not the actual victim. And then even today, we saw that many police officers and supporters were rallying outside the courtroom area for McCabe and for Torgalski as they were being charged, because charges have been laid in this case. But there were hundreds of people seemingly there to support them, not for Martin Gugino and not for people like him, not for any of that, but for these two men that thought they were big shots to push over a 75-year-old elderly person who was there peacefully. That's the truth. 100%. And now you even have the mayor basically saying that he was the agitator, that the 75-year-old man was the agitator, was the instigator. It's basically his fault, what the mayor is saying. And the mayor is basically lining it all up to say that regardless of what happens with any charges, he's going to do whatever it takes to get these two cops back on the force and basically side with a couple dozen thugs, for lack of a better term, over the basic decency of his city. That's what's happening here. Martin Gugino is a peaceful man. He was there in peace. Yes, he was protesting. Yes, he has a cause and a vision. Yes, he wants to change society and is vocal about it. But he is actually dedicated to the grand cause of peaceful protest. He's rooted in the Catholic worker tradition. He's connected to Dorothy Day, one of America's great peaceful protesters of social and political and economic injustice. This is the very sort of person that you will see at a protest, but they will almost always, to a fault if anything, be peaceful at those protests. We didn't see anything that levied any sort of danger or threat to those police officers. We saw nothing that Martin Gugino could have done or wanted to do to cause harm to those officers, and they pushed him over anyway, and they gave him severe injuries in doing so. That's what we saw. The fact that the mayor, the 57 officers, all these hundreds of people rallying outside for them are siding with him and not Martin Gugino and not peaceful protesters tells you everything you need to know about how policing is institutionally rotten in the United States and indeed in many parts of the world. This is fundamentally broken. Some people have pointed out, frankly, that the mayor of Buffalo, New York is African American. It's not ever going to just be enough for more representation. These systems are rotten. More black police officers alone won't fix things. You need to systematically dissolve policing as it exists. You need to defund police stations. You need to defund jails and prisons. You need to defund the coercive power that we give to such unaccountable men. That's what you have to do. And until you do that, no matter who leads cities, no matter what the police force looks like, it's going to do what it did to Martin Gugino, and it's going to get away with it because the powers that be would rather have 75-year-old men pushed over than having the right of peaceful protesters to protest peacefully.